Hi there, my name is Jake and I'm 30. I've been doing construction work since I was 21. Nothing flashy, just consistent work mostly for a big company in town. I rent a one-bedroom apartment with creaky floors and a view of my neighbor's pickup truck about 20 minutes outside of Nashville. It's not much, but it's mine. This is how my days normally go: get up before the sun, drink, coffee, put on my boots, deal with my back, drive to the job site, work till I lose track of time, then go home with dust in my lungs and not much on my mind. It's honest work, decent pay, not exciting, but it keeps me going. This all started one Friday afternoon. We just finished a meeting at work, those awkward end-of-week check-ins where no one truly listens but pretends to care. Emma, our company's accountant, stayed behind to go over paperwork with our boss. Emma is one of those people who's nice to everyone, yet hard to figure out. Smart, always looks good, only talks about spreadsheets or missed invoices. I'd never really talked to her beyond work. That day, though, she seemed unsure, as if she wanted to ask something but wasn't certain she should. She finally blurted out, laughing it off, "Does anyone here know someone who can fix a leaky faucet?" Someone behind me mentioned being busy all weekend. Another said, "Get a plumber." I almost didn't say anything, but I heard myself ask, "What kind of faucet?" She turned her head. "The kitchen. It's leaking like crazies, probably nothing but—" "I don't want it to get worse." I paused, then said, "If it's not a big deal, I can come by tomorrow." "Shouldn't take long." Emma blinked. "You'd really do that?" "Sure, I've got the tools. Saturday's usually free anyway." She nodded slowly. "Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Jake." So Saturday comes and I go to her house mid-morning. The area is quiet, not too fancy. Her house looked lived in, not staged like someone really lived there. She opened the door in jeans, a hoodie, no shoes, hair up, no makeup, just fine. She smiled warmly, pointed to the kitchen. "Over there's the sink. It's probably a bad idea. I just didn't want to make it worse." I knelt down, looked, and sure enough, the connection was loose, a simple fix, 10 minutes, maybe 15. We talked while I worked, not much: the weather, how long she'd worked there, what brand of coffee she liked. I noticed a few plants on the windowsill, all alive, which made me think she was more patient than I was. After tightening everything, I stood up, washed my hands. "That's it then? No flood to worry about?" She laughed. "Are you kidding? That's all." "Yeah," I smiled. "I should charge you for all this work." She smiled, tilted her head. "What if I made dinner for you instead?" I blinked. That surprised me, not from her. "You don't have to." "I want to," she said. "You're saving me from spending 2 hours watching YouTube videos." I thought about it. "Okay, yeah, but I'm not picky." She laughed again. "Good. My pasta's great, but my salad's awful." "You'll get both." So I stayed. She made dinner. I helped chop vegetables, though I nearly ruined a tomato. We sat next to each other at her small kitchen table, drank iced tea from mismatched glasses. Some old indie music played softly in the background, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had to be somewhere else. She asked why I'd offered to help. I shrugged, said I didn't want to stay home, and you looked like you needed someone to say yes. She stared at her plate for a moment, then said, "Yeah, I kind of did." After dinner, I stood up, stretched my back, grabbed my keys. She walked me to the door, said, "Thanks again for everything." I smiled. "Thanks for the meal. Really, it was good." "You didn't eat the salad," I laughed. I said what I said. She laughed, a real one. We didn't hug, didn't linger, just that subtle feeling something had changed. I got in my truck, saw the porch light. She turned on for me and drove off into the night. At the time, I didn't know that was the start of something. The next Monday morning, I went to the site as usual. It was chilly, the sun out in Tennessee, but the wind still cut through your jacket. I didn't think the day would be different, just another shift, more drywall and sweat. But in the break room, getting coffee, there was Emma standing by the microwave talking to our site coordinator, clutching a document, as she often did. This time when we looked at each other, something happened, a tiny smile for a second, not much. Not love, not overly friendly, just different. It threw me off more than I expected. Later that day around lunchtime, I went to the office trailer for a document. She was still there, entering data into a spreadsheet. "I see you didn't let any faucets leak today," I said. She smiled. "All dry for now. Sure you don't charge for follow-ups?" I laughed. "You paid me with pasta. That's my rate." She looked up, leaned back a little. Fair trade. I grabbed the folder, nodded, walked out. She said, Jake. I turned around. Do you like pho? I blinked. Vietnamese soup. Yeah, I've had it before. Thought I did it wrong. She grinned. There's a new place by the mall. I was going to try it this week. A pause. Are you asking me to go with you? I asked. She raised an eyebrow. Do you like pho? I smiled. I could learn to. The next day we went Tuesday night. She had her hair partially pulled back, wore a light green jacket. I got there early, sat in my pickup, staring at the steering wheel like a 16-year-old. Dinner was simple, a quiet little place. She ordered with confidence. I followed her lead. We talked about everything but work music, old jobs, weird neighbors, a story about a squirrel in her attic. It didn't feel like a date, but it didn't feel not like one either. We split the bill. She insisted this, said she wasn't the kind of woman who owes someone just because he fixed her plumbing. I walked her to her car. It became a thing after that, not planned, not scheduled, just happened, a meal here, a call there. Some days we'd both work late, leave together. One Thursday she called during a break, said her smoke alarm wouldn't stop beeping. That night I drove over with a new battery and a step stool. We didn't talk about what we were doing, and honestly I didn't think about it too much. I liked being with her. That was enough. 2 weeks later, we were eating takeout in her living room after I fixed a jammed kitchen drawer. She pulled out a puzzle, said it helped her calm down. I helped sort the edges. That night, we talked more than ever. She said she hadn't been out with anyone since her divorce, that the silence in her house used to feel heavy, like it judged her. I told her I didn't know what I was doing either, but I liked hearing her laugh. Things got quiet after that. She murmured softly, "You don't feel like a stranger." I didn't respond right away. I didn't know how. I just looked at her. She turned to me. I leaned in, not fast, on purpose. She didn't pull away. The kiss was brief, natural, like it had been waiting its turn, not trying to grab attention. She touched my arm for a second, then pulled back. "I'm not in a hurry," she said. "I just wanted to know." I nodded. I do too. I stayed an hour longer. We didn't kiss again, didn't even sit close, just finished the puzzle in silence under a blanket. She pulled out. She walked me to the door when I left. "See you tomorrow," I said. She smiled. "Yeah, you will." Driving home that night, I felt calm, not thrilled, not worried, just calm, like things had fallen into place. The next morning at the office trailer, she was already there typing eyes on the screen. I dropped off my papers, cleared my throat. She looked over. "Good morning." "Good morning." She didn't smile, didn't get embarrassed, just kept going. But as I passed her desk, she said without looking, drawers still holding up, I didn't look back, just smiled, said, "Told you I know what I'm doing." I left work thinking this might be the start of something that didn't need fixing. Weeks passed, maybe more. Things with Emia didn't change right away, and I liked that. No stress, no big talks about what we were. Without saying it, we both agreed to let things flow naturally. We still worked at the same company, saw each other in the hallway like any coworkers. But sometimes she'd hand me a report, her fingers lingering half a second longer, or she'd stop me at the door as I was leaving, saying, "Be careful on the road." We kept meeting outside work. Nothing big, no romantic trips or candlelit dinners, more like living life together. She'd call, say her porch light was flickering again. I'd stop by after work with a new bulb. She'd ask if I wanted leftovers, and I'd say yes immediately. One Friday night, she texted while I was still at work. "Emma, any chance you can check the water heater this weekend?" Making weird noises. "I charge extra for haunted appliances," I replied. "Okay, I'll make chili." That Saturday, I drove over after grabbing supplies from the hardware store. The noises were just sediment banging in the tank. I flushed it, tightened valves, and by the time I was done, the kitchen smelled amazing. She handed me a bowl of chili and a beer. We sat on the couch, didn't talk much. It was warm, and I thought if every weekend was like this, I'd be fine. She mentioned her ex-husband never liked fixing things around the house, told her to call a handyman for even small stuff. I didn't ask questions, just listened. Then she looked at me, said, "You make it easy to trust again." I didn't know what to say, just nodded. It felt like enough for both of us. The next weekend, I asked her to my place, told her it wasn't much, just a rental with a crooked porch and carpet. I didn't choose, but she didn't care. She brought a puzzle box and a pie she'd baked from scratch, met my sister Rachel, who dropped by unannounced with a bag of laundry since her dryer was broken again. When Rachel saw Emma at my table with a coffee cup, she raised her eyebrows. "Hello," Rachel said, setting the bag down. "Didn't know we were having company?" Emma stood polite but not awkward. "I work with Jake, Emma." Rachel looked at me, then back at her. "Nice to meet you. You bake?" Emma smiled. "Sometimes." Later, as Rachel left, she pulled me aside, whispered, "She seems grounded. Don't mess it up." I didn't plan to. That night, Emma stayed a few hours. We didn't kiss, didn't sit close. She helped me clean a drawer that had been a mess for years. She found an old birthday card from my dad from when he still wrote notes, told me to keep it safe. The way she said it made my throat tighten. The next weekend, we went to Lowe's. I needed drywall tape. She wanted a new lamp for her living room. We wandered the aisles for over an hour, laughing at overpriced light fixtures, joking about useless plastic tools. At one point, she looked at me, said, "I like this." "Shopping?" I asked. "No, this us just being here." I didn't say anything, just looked at her. Her eyes weren't scared, weren't careful, just open. I installed her new lamp. She was humming in the hallway. She said, "I never thought someone would do all this just because they wanted to." I told her, "You make it easy." She turned away for a second, then murmured, "I'm not used to this." I said honestly, "Neither am I." She kissed me again. That night longer this time, not rushed, more certain, like breathing, after holding it in all day. She didn't ask me to stay. I didn't try. We both knew we were building something, not rushing, not labeling, just building. The next 2 days were normal. We went to work. She sent me a video of her dog barking at a squirrel outside. I sent a picture of a sandwich I'd completely burned, and she told me to stick to plumbing. Then one Thursday morning at work, she didn't look the same, not sick, not sad, just quieter. "Everything okay?" I asked in the hallway. She smiled, but her eyes didn't light up. "Yeah, just tired." She didn't text that night or the next day. I didn't push, thought she needed space, but something felt off. Sunday morning, I got a message. "Hey, Jake, can we talk?" "Not bad, I just need to see you." I stared at the screen, stomach dropping, not scared, just sensing something shifting. "Sure," I replied, "I'm coming." I grabbed my keys, didn't even change out of my hoodie. I drove to Emma's house that afternoon. Her car was in the driveway porch light, off which seemed odd since my brain was searching for anything out of place. I knocked once, walked in as I'd done a dozen times. She was on the edge of the couch, elbows on her knees, coffee mug in both hands. When she saw me, she looked up, and I could tell right away something was wrong. Not terrible, not sad, just real. Like she was bracing for something that could shake the ground. I closed the door softly. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded but didn't speak right away. I sat across from her, leaning forward, elbows on my knees. We were quiet for a minute. No music, no background noise. Just the fridge's low hum and the heater's occasional pop. She finally spoke. "I took a test." I blinked. "What kind of test?" She glanced at me, let out a long breath. "A pregnancy test." My throat tightened, but I kept my voice quiet. "Okay," I hadn't seen it coming. She continued quickly. "I didn't even think about it till I was late. Thought it was stress or I'd lost track of time. Didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it was positive." I asked softly, "You sure?" She nodded. I leaned back, letting it sink in, chest tight, not panicked, just like there was too much air and not enough space for it. I looked at the floor for a second. Emma kept watching me, not just waiting for a reaction, but trying to read my first flinch. "Jake," she said gently, "I don't need anything right now. I just had to tell you, that's all." I looked up. "Have you decided what you want to do?" She shook her head. "No, I want to keep it, but I'm still thinking." "I didn't want to decide without telling you first." I nodded slowly, stood up. She looked at me like she thought I might leave. I didn't blame her, plenty of guys would. But I didn't. "I'll be back soon," I said. She blinked. "Wait, where you going?" "Just need to think, but I'm not running, I promise." She didn't stop me. I left quietly, got in my pickup, drove aimlessly for about an hour, past the worksite, through back roads out toward the lake. No radio, no calls, just drove parked on a gravel turnout by Old Mill Road, sat there. I thought about her, not just the past weeks, but everything, how she looked when I fixed her faucet, how she handed me a beer after I changed her porch bulb, The way she smiled when she thought I wasn't looking, how she said, "You don't feel like a stranger." Sitting in that truck, I realized I wasn't scared of the baby, but of not doing the right thing. The next day, I called in sick, went to the hardware store, got a new button for her doorbell. She'd been complaining about a light fixture for her hallway and a simple ring box from the jewelry store by the grocery. Then I drove straight to her house. She answered in a hoodie and leggings, hair tied back, eyes puffy, like she hadn't slept well. I held up the small white bag with the ring box. "Jake," she said, "I asked to wait to go inside. Let me say it first." She nodded, stepped aside, closed the door. I stood in her living room, hands sweaty, unsure if what I was doing was perfect, but certain it was right for me. "I don't have a big speech," I said. "I'm not doing this because it's what you're supposed to do when this happens. I'm doing it because I've never met anyone I respect as much as you. You don't ask for anything, don't expect anything, yet you give more than anyone I've ever known." I paused, touched the ring box in the bag. This isn't a reaction. It's what I already knew I wanted. This just made it clearer. Emma stood still, her face barely changing, but her eyes showed something melting. Something real. "I want to be with you," I said, "not just because you're carrying my kid, but because you're the person I want anyway. So marry me." I opened the box. Inside was a simple gold ring, not flashy, just honest. She stepped closer, looked at the ring, then at me. "You mean that?" she asked quietly. I nodded. She took a breath, looked like she might cry, but instead smiled a calm, warm, relieved smile. "Yes," she said, "yes, I will." I slipped the ring on her finger. It fit, not perfectly, but good enough for now. We hugged, no crying, just stillness, the kind of moment you don't need to explain. Later that day, we sat on her porch eating sandwiches she'd made, watching the wind blow leaves from the trees. She touched her stomach almost unconsciously. "I was scared to tell you," she said. "Didn't want to mess up what we had." I told her, "You didn't. You gave it a name." She looked at me. "What's that?" I smiled. "A beginning." We didn't want a big wedding. Neither of us did. Emma said she'd done the whole thing once, white dress photos, people she hadn't seen since high school. I never pictured myself standing in front of a crowd with shaky hands reading vows. I just wanted it real simple. We got married on a Thursday afternoon at the county clerk's office. Her brother came from Knoxville with a camera. Rachel, my sister, brought a bouquet she'd grabbed from a grocery store parking lot. No suits, no speeches, no DJ. Emma wore a cream-colored shirt, black flats, a peaceful look that told me she wasn't nervous, just ready. When the judge asked if we wanted to say anything, I looked at her, said, "You already know what you mean to me." She smiled, said, "Let's do this then." After we ate lunch at a diner down the street, Rachel teased us for getting grilled cheese on our wedding day. Emma said, "It's what I wanted, can't beat that." That night, we went back to our place now. My lease was up. We decided it didn't make sense for me to stay elsewhere since I was at her house every night. The move was easy, a couple boxes, my tools, my dog-eared recliner that didn't match anything but felt like home. She was already showing not much, just enough to make you pause and smile when she turned sideways. Sometimes I'd catch her in front of the bathroom mirror, hands on her tummy, like she was still trying to believe it. I didn't push. I knew how fast she was moving, and I thought it was good. I kept doing construction, going to the site every morning, coming home sore and dusty. But now when I walked in the front door, I smelled something cooking, heard music from the kitchen, or saw her napping on the couch with a book on her chest, our future silently growing inside her. One Saturday morning, I started painting the spare bedroom. She came in with a mug of tea, hair a mess, wearing one of my hoodies, stood in the doorway watching me. "What color's this again?" she asked. "Birch white technically, but really just soft beige." She tilted her head. "Looks more like vanilla pudding." "Want to change it?" She shook her head. "No, I like it." Later, we put the crib together, a million screws in the box, no sensible directions. I grumbled plenty while she read the instructions, trying not to laugh. Halfway through, I looked at her, said, "You know this thing's gonna get chewed on and peed in, right?" She smiled. "That's kind of the point." That night, we sat in the almost finished nursery. No lights on, just the hallway's glow walls, painted crib up. She'd cleaned and painted a thrift store dresser, filled it with tiny socks and onesies. She said softly, I used to think I'd never get here. I looked at her. We're this house, this place. No, not the baby, this peace, the kind that doesn't hurt. I took her hand. It doesn't feel like a second chance. It feels like the first real one. We didn't say anything else, just sat there, the two of us, in that light beige room, waiting for someone we'd never met but already loved. As her belly grew, our routines got more serious. Sundays turned into store trips and laundry Friday nights into takeout and puzzles. The same one from when I first stayed late at her house, but now we were nearly done. During her second trimester, Emma worked from home, laptop, open spreadsheets, a bowl of crackers nearby. She was more tired, quieter, but never complained. One night after dinner, leaning against the counter, she said, promise me something, anything. If anything ever happens to me, you keep going. Look after them. Don't walk away. I looked at her stunned. Nothing's going to happen. I know, just promise anyway. I stepped up, held her face in my hands. I promise, but I want to grow old with you, like ancient pill organizer old. She laughed, the kind that starts in the chest and ends with a tear. I want that, I really do. The baby came in early spring, girl June, after Emma's grandmother, who taught her to make pasta from scratch and always said, the quiet ones love the deepest. Emma was at the same hospital where she was born years before for her mom's surgery. She said, full circle, life's weird. I held June, scared to move, afraid breathing would break her, but Emma was calm, tired, full of life. You're already a better dad than you think, she said. I kissed her forehead. We'll figure it out. And we did. We didn't post pictures online, didn't send announcements, just lived quietly, gently together. A few months later, I was made head site foreman, better hours, slightly better, pay still a dirty job, but now I came home to someone who didn't mind how I smelled. One night I walked into the kitchen, saw her barefoot holding June against her chest, stirring soup with one hand. She turned, grinned, hungry always. I moved closer, kissed her shoulder. I should charge you for all this work, I joked. She looked back, that same half smile from months ago. How about I make you dinner instead? We both laughed, same kitchen, same woman, same quiet love that doesn't need attention, just stays. And that's how it ended, the smell of dinner, the weight of a child on her chest, and a man who knew he'd found everything he didn't know he needed. Jake's story with Emma offers a heartfelt lesson. Life's deepest connections often grow from small, selfless acts like fixing a leaky faucet. What began as a simple favor blossomed into a profound bond built on quiet moments, shared dinners, puzzles, and honest conversations. When Emma revealed her pregnancy, Jake's choice to propose not out of obligation, but genuine respect and love, shows that true commitment stems from valuing someone's essence, not just circumstances. Their journey from coworkers to parents of baby June teaches us that love doesn't need grand gestures or labels. It thrives in the everyday, in showing up consistently, even when life shifts unexpectedly. Jake's calm acceptance of fatherhood and Emma's courage to trust again highlight the beauty of embracing change with open hearts. This story resonates because it reminds us that the smallest choices, offering help, staying for dinner, can lead to life's greatest rewards. It's about finding peace in the ordinary, in a shared bowl of chili or a nursery painted beige. Have you ever found love or purpose in an unexpected act of kindness? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how a single moment changed your path. If this tale warmed your soul, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to join our community. Your support fuels these stories of quiet love and growth, inspiring us to cherish life's simple beginnings. Let's keep the journey going together.